Greetings ladies and gents, welcome back to the Craft Hammer. I'm your host Stefan, and in today's video we're going to be doing a small kit review for the Space Marines Company Heroes box. Before we go too further into the review, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, make sure to drop your comments down below and like this video. Really helps us out. Now, without too much waffling, let's get into the review for this kit. And just a small little disclaimer, I have already previously built this set and it's not going to be the first time that I'm opening to see it. I got this a while back ago just to add to my force, and once I got into the actual kit itself, saw the things that I could do and the possibilities that it gives, I decided that once I finished building the models themselves, that I would go back and review them just to help out some new beginners, especially with the possibilities that this box offers to save some money and not get individual character pieces, and instead you just get this box as a starter. I'm sure that some of you eagle-eyed viewers may already realize what I'm going to be discussing about in this video. The general gist is that you can get one of these boxes and split up this squad to make different HQ characters to add to any force. Even though if you wanted to, you can still play them as a squad, it does make sense that you are able to take the individuals from this squad and make other HQ characters. So the plan is to show you the finished product, although I did add a few extra things from my own bits box just to make them more custom towards my chapter, and I'll explain how you can field each one of these individually and where you can fit them into your force. So without further ado, let's get the finished models and then we'll talk about how you can use them separately from this squad. Now, as you can see, all of the individuals are built here, and you can, for the most part, at least 4 out of 5, be used as separate HQ characters. Personally here, what I did is I definitely changed out the shoulder pads on their left shoulders, or what we're looking at from the right here, so that it would match the aesthetic of my faction. And then I will show you what I did with the guy that has the bolter, and of course the captain himself. I did slightly change out the weapons just so that they fit more into my custom theme, but of course if you wanted to, you can of course keep them as is on the box itself. Again, you don't need to deviate from what you get, it's just it does give you some options if you do have a few extra bits in your box so that you can make something that's more accustomed to your specific playstyle and your specific theme. The one that is definitely the odd one out is of course the veteran with the heavy bolter. Let me see if I can change out the light here so that you can see. The reason why he is the odd one out is that there isn't any specific HQ character that has a heavy weapon as their main armament, and he doesn't really have any melee weapons to go with it. So there isn't a specific place that you can make him into a HQ character, but if you do have the Stern Guard veterans, you could of course swap him into that squad itself, and let's say you want to build a different weapon for that squad, and then you just want to now and again be able to swap him out. So there is that option. And of course, as I said at the very start, you can still play them as the company heroes, though most likely it's not really something that most people will do when it comes to the competitive side or making sure that they're optimizing the rules that they are using. Instead, most people try and get individual HQ characters that they can add to their squad. So it's not something that you often see played in terms of competitive games, but maybe in a narrative game with your friends, you might play them as a company hero squad. Now, the second character that does have a bit more difficult time when it comes to changing out how he looks, just because of the way that the cape is built on top of him, we do have the banner bearer, which we can play as a company ancient of some sort. He does have a nice bolter at the back. I don't actually think he has a melee weapon. I do believe one of the company ancients do have the ability to take a melee weapon, but at the end of the day, it's not really a character that is going to be going in the front lines when it comes to dealing out damage. It's something that will be supporting some of your other elite squads to buff them up. I do really like this ancient, I have to say. I am definitely looking forward to painting up this banner, putting in some decals, especially here on this little shield plate. So it's going to look very cool, and it will probably be one of the first times that I will try to write something across these little scrolls. So wish me luck when it comes to that. Now our next miniature, which is supposed to be, I guess, a stand-in for the company champion, which when he was still a firstborn did in fact have his very own datasheet that you could have rules for and run him as an individual. Unfortunately, when he changed to Primaris, he had a quick flash in the pan where he got an exclusive model which sold out, and then his rules went straight into Legends. So unfortunately, you can't actually run this guy as an individual company champion as he's supposed to be. That of course won't stop you though, because he does have a power sword and a pistol, which pretty much makes him a lieutenant. So if you are looking to get a lieutenant into your army and you don't want to buy the individual blister, here is the first model that can become a lieutenant, and then you can attach him to whatever squad for whatever reason you might be looking. Now the one thing that is different from all the other ones is, if you can see, the Crux Terminatus is in fact on the shoulder pad where all of the other ones have the chapter logo. The reason being is that both of these hands, and the shoulders specifically, are in fact Gravis sized. So these shoulder pads are for Gravis like models and not the normal Primaris ones. So when I had to go into my bits box, I actually had to go into the upgrade sprue and get one of these Gravis specific shoulder pads, which unfortunately for the other side I had already used up most of them for my heavy intercessors. So then I had to swap out the Crux Terminatus, put it on this side, and then make sure that the chapter logo with the Gravis shoulder pad was on this side. So unfortunately he does not specifically match with the other ones, but this is the very first lieutenant that you can have for your army. Now let's move on to the second one. This is of course the one that has the bolter. I did specifically swap out the hand. I'm not a big fan of the mechanical hands. I know that is something that makes him look like a veteran, so that he has that scar where he lost his arm and got replaced. But personally, I wasn't really a big fan, so I decided to change that out, give him a Templar sword with the chain on, which I think makes it stand out pretty nicely. And then of course, he does come with extra scopes and some nice interesting, I think those are like little trophies. I don't actually know if they're the bullets that he uses for the bolter. I think those are supposed to be like little medals to show that he is a marksman. But again, similar as to the one before, I swapped out his weapon to a Templar one, gave him a Templar shoulder pad, changed out his helmet, and now I can use him as a lieutenant, which there is obviously a few variations, which includes a bolter if you want to use it as is shown on the model, but it doesn't stop you from also using this model as a lieutenant that has a power sword, and you can just proxy this as a pistol. So there we go, we have already 3 HQ characters that we can put onto our force, 2 lieutenants, and of course the ancient that we showed earlier. Now our last model, which is I suppose a fairly obvious one, and I didn't glue him directly to his little rock piece just to make it easier for actual painting, is the model that is supposed to be a stand-in for a captain, although I guess you could also technically say that he might be a lieutenant, but I do believe he is supposed to be a captain. And similar as before, I decided to change out the weapon, and I used a combi bolter from the Sword Brethren kit just because it fits my theme. And then I did decide to give him the Crusader blade, I believe it's called, from the upgrade kit for the Templars, mostly because I haven't actually got the chance to use this weapon on any other model, so I really wanted to try it out on this one and see what it looked like. Of course, I changed out the helmet and the shoulder pad to match my theme, so overall not a too shabby character. And I am going to give him the specific banner from the upgrade kit I can't remember what it's called, but I do believe it's supposed to match one of the specific warlord traits. Mostly I'm going to do it just because it looks interesting, not because he needs to have that specific warlord trait. And I do think it gives a bit of height and interest to the character. And for those of you who have some of the older captain models, they normally used to come with back banners, so it's a nice little throwback to those models from back then. So that's kind of the overall theme for this box. You can of course just run it as you see it on the actual cover there, but with a little bit of kit bashing. To be honest, you don't really need to actually change out any weapons. They can go as they are. You do get 4 different HQ characters, 2 lieutenants, 1 captain, and an ancient with a banner. So instead of getting, I believe they're about €35 each, maybe, if I remember correct, the actual blisters for some of these HQ characters, you could just spend the cash, get that box, and all of a sudden you are saving a lot of money, and you only had to buy 1 box instead of 4 separate ones. So overall, this is a great savings box. 2 different lieutenants, 1 captain, 1 ancient, and a veteran that you can add to your Sternguard veteran squad. So if you are a new beginner and you are interested in building out some of your more important characters, this would definitely be the way to go, and it saves you quite a bit of money. So keep your eye out on it, maybe check the box in the store, check the back of the box, see the options that you get. Don't forget you can go on the actual site itself, and it does give you the sprues on the site as pictures, so you can check it out that way. But otherwise, definitely recommend to get your hands on this box as a new beginner. Hopefully this video has helped you out, figure out some new characters that you can add to your force. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like and comment on this video, it really helps us out. Check out some of our other kit reviews. We did a whole playlist for the Death Corps of Krieg. And for now, until next time, take care folks.